Good morning, and this is your crypto day morning. Today's date comes in that of Saturday, 26th of January, 2019. My name is Derek, all bets trades, and of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. There's not much to go over upon Bitcoin, so there's not much to look at. Is in today's session a little bit of a small line up to the 18 average of highs as the price came in at 3,658. Pretty much back down to where it came from. And, well, the story of the last 3 days, 4 days, or really almost every day is just not doing anything, staying amongst these prices on the single hour term time frame. This is that move that came into place, rejecting the rally immediately, and of course back into its same area. Nothing more to go over. Theta we'll talk about next, up 11.25% today. After yesterday, it was up 7.3/5. So the price action went from a close of 1441 and almost 300 basis points. And there really was no surprise. Today's session is doing such an event. I was talked about in yesterday's video. After establishing this level of resistance, this upward movement, most certainly noticeable. And when you had the shorter term setups in place, first and particularly the 4 hour term time frame, after making this rally, it came back to where it needed to do or come down to, but it supported that level successfully. Resistance area came back, but it obviously broke it, and this was the interesting part where it supported this previous level of resistance. It supported above this little key area in here, and more importantly, and just, well, really as importantly, doing the higher low. And then after this level of resistance was established, it's been just continuing to have decent legs higher. So yesterday morning, it had this level established. It got by it as well, pretty convincingly, and it's in a nice up move. When it's going to stop, I don't know, but I'm going to keep having my sell orders and buy orders in place, ready to go for myself as a trader. And by looking at this quickly on the hourly time frame, this thing broke out originally yesterday morning at 4 a.m., thus establishing this level of resistance. The correctionary move was successful, coming down first through price, then through time, coming back to where it came from, correcting within the 18, and then showing these 3 periods here. A lot of things, a lot of stuff is being told as it got above the 18 highs in here, had the pause moment, and then the situation here did not have a big surprise in taking it out. And then that situation that is just not so fun as a predictor, where you have key high, a successful correctionary high or low, but a good correction regardless after that. And then you come back to this high. What are you going to do? Are you going to have just a little bit of resistance? Are you going to break higher? And it was just a little bit of resistance in this particular case. Definitely nothing you could really look to get a buyback if you're looking to sell here. Well, even if you're looking to come back here, it didn't do that. It didn't go down there. But not a surprise. Is you have a break of key resistance. You have a good leg higher. And now it managed to get up originally to about 1764. It has further extended it, thankfully. And I say thankfully as a trader, to 1798, because my sell order was higher than this and lower than that. It was pretty much right below 18. And then from this point, because resistance is established again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 different periods that it has hit this upper area in the 17 high number. They're getting above 1760 to 1800, just like it was in here. You'd be looking at a decent size, a leg higher. And when you look at the overall spectrum, these decent size moves are going to retrace at some point. And viewing back at the 4 hour, This to me is the area that I really like to see it hold towards, or it's not a surprise, bullishly and bearishly. Obviously, bearishly it has to, but on a bullish level, to come down north of 1400 to 1450, or anywhere in the 1400s, which would be a decline of at least 200 basis points from where it stands now, and that's about 12% on a conservative level. And then from the 1800 going down to 1500, that would be about a 16% decline. And these numbers are just overall tiny percentage numbers, because when it had that move at the end of November, it just flew so high in just a matter of a couple of hours, or 4 or 6 hours, on this November 30th morning. And have a move of like a 3x play, that's standard. And if it has fast moves up to here in the next 2-3 days, I'd be expecting a lot more today than I did during any of these days in here. Because more times than not, you're going to have these big moves after the last couple or so days preceded it had a signal sort of like this to indicate, well, what is a better probability of bigger size moves. And the overall movement of where this can go is getting it above this level here. This thing go to 5 digits, 10, 15, 20,000 Satoshi, easy. And I say that because of historical movements in coins, where 10x, 100x, and even 500-600x moves are not out of question. And it only requires a move of about 10x from this low in here just to get to 10,000. And it takes a 100x move to leave 5 digits into 6-digit Satoshi prices. And that's just potential moves that are realistic kind of deal. Let's move on next to Tron, and this just keeps on going. This was at 300 late November, right around US Thanksgiving. And then this pattern in here was just phenomenal I really haven't seen much of this. And as I was stating, it just makes it not as big of a shock for things like this to occur when this preceded such an event. But even from after this fact, great time correction meeting up with 18 lows, then it gets above the 18 highs, and it has a nice, amazing move. It got above the 18 average of highs at around 561. And then it took about a week, or about 7-8 periods, to go from about 5.5 to about 8 3/5, or about 300 basis point gain. 30, 40, 60, 70%. Just that's the normality of these types of markets. But since that event has taken place, multiple days correcting down to the 18 lows, not quite to where it came from here, which could very easily have been a missed opportunity to buy, but you know what, that's the market for you. And then you have the instant green candle move up from the end of the decline of point A high and point B low. Thus, you're still retracing. And within it, you retrace, you come back to a small price correction, thus higher low from this level. And now in an attempt to leave the band again. But the difference in leaving the band here compared to here is that it was already taking a lot of energy to go from a very fat or extended 18 band at the lower end of it just to get above it. So that took a lot of energy and work there. But in this case here, you had a little bit of price and time correction in here, gets above it, and for several days before today, there was just 1, 2, 3, 4 of these hardly moving, grinding, working its way higher moves, while still in retracement of point A high to point B low. And then today's move, still in retracement from this level. So therefore, now it's going to be, or I can't say going to be, it's probably going to be moving to that interesting point that I don't like, but it happens, and it happens all the time, or a lot of times, where it goes back to previous high after a good price correction and a higher low, but noticeably still bullish. and then you get a move back to this level and probably overextended from where it came from. Because I realize coming up here, we could be seeing overall toppy action where on the weekly chart we're talking about making a high and coming back down. That's still in play. But when I notice it, and I did a different time frame before. That's just a nice 1 hour move, by the way, too. But when we have this extended market within this, and man, that time frame caught me off loop. Okay, here we go. This is where I was talking about. So now I'm back into what I was knowing that I'm talking about, and that is you come up to this level of resistance. Yes, it can be a big high, and we can see this thing go from 850 down to 400 in time. Now, that's totally possible. And if it's going to be successful resistance, oftentimes the best you're going to do is come back to maybe here at 740. And then, like we've seen with the other chart, maybe just chop around like this for 3 or 4, and then just have what would most likely be a large break higher on a break of this resistance. So if it does manage to get above it, noticeably above it, for this high is 856, then you'd be looking at least hitting the 4-digit numbers. I would at least tend to think. And let's finish this off within Decentraland, Mana, M-A-N-A, which started December, managed to get up to about 1,800 and change Satoshi, falling down to about 1,000, losing very close to half of its value. On the date of January 16th, it has a move from the low to the 18 highs, and for the next week and a couple of days thereafter that, it just stayed within it. But today's session, managing to get above the 18 average of highs after yesterday having a pretty nice pause day, flirting with that level. Back now to this previous level of resistance. So therefore, I know the candles show less volume and such, so be it. Price still pays as far as how it moves. This was a spot where this level of support was higher, was basically this key level you'd want it to go to. So this level has been established in here at about 1157. Resistance was established here as well. It just got above that on the 19 p.m. session yesterday. So therefore, any retracements with around this area, even piercing below 1100 or so, 1095, but 1100 is where I would expect short-term support. But well, how I'm looking at this is resistance in here, and it was quick. It really had a second layer of resistance right there. So it's gotten above that second layer in this current move and supporting it, spending more time here than it did the last time. So when I see that, this really gives me a good reason that on a break that there should be a higher probability, like there usually always is anyway, of a decent size leg higher. And amongst the daily chart, again, we have a high of about 1869 and a low of 1,000. Let's do some Fibonacci. 1189 divided by 1,000 is about 1.89, or 18, or about 1900 divided by 1,000. 1860 divided by 1,000 is 1.86. So that's the differential of the volatility. So let's go 1860 and 1,000, and I would put this to the root exponent of 0.382 and 0.618. Those are the key numbers that I'm looking for. This calculator will do it for me, and then multiply that number by the low. So that would give me 1467 and 1268 Satoshi. So the next key move, I would be looking for a pierce above 1268, probably a move closer to 1300 on a break of that resistance. And if that level, whether it be quickly or more likely through time, thus come up to the 1300 or so area, then resist it, stay there through price, come back to 1170 or something. And then after that, I would be looking at about 1500 because it pierces more usually, so 1467. I'd be looking for this previous Christmas Eve high to be the next key level of resistance there after that. And normally, crypto markets go up faster than they go down priced against Bitcoin. So then it took from the December, we'll do the December 10 highs to the January 13 lows. It took about 5 weeks to make the decline. I would be very surprised if it took longer than 3 weeks from the time this really gets going. And that's just normal history. So having 8 days or 12 days to go from 1130 back up to this high would not be a surprise if something like that were to take place. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. And oh yeah, by the way, for hockey tonight, I'd like both the Atlantic Division and the Pacific Division to win their All-Star Game matchup. I think they're definitely more superior teams, and they got pretty much close to even odds on each one. I just find the rosters on both sides, first on the West with the Pacific led by Johnny Gaudreau and Connor McDavid, and then on the Atlantic Division with Kucherov and Austin Matthews. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.